What is up, guys? Holy crap, that was some seriously good racing at Paula yesterday. Jett won the race, but Honda, they took an L. Man, poor Chase Sexton, that was about as bad of a moto or opening round as you could probably ever have. If you haven't tried Nano-Extreme, you are missing out. I'm telling you, this is the best pain solution that I've ever used. It's not a drug, it's something you put on, it's a topical, and it works better than most of these dirty opiates that they keep prescribing. I'm telling you, try Nano-Extreme, use code Cooksy for free shipping, and thank me later. Are you training for a big event this summer? Or you got something on the docket that you're scheduled to do and you need to train for it, but you don't know, am I doing enough? Am I not doing enough? Click the link below, talk to Coach Rob, and it will be the best 30 minutes that you spend preparing for your event. Coach knows so much, so don't forget, click that link, get your 30-minute consultation with Coach Rob himself. Precision Transport, such a good shipping company. They truly believe in customer service, reasonable pricing, and you're tired of dealing with these janky shipping companies, hit up Pre-Transport and they will dial you in.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
So I have some thoughts on the Jett Lawrence situation of him, dropping the N-word, using the word coons in reference to a certain ethnic group, how they handled it. When I say they, I mean Honda. Jett did a great job. Jett did everything he could. But I'm going to save that for the end, guys. A lot of you guys are tired of that. You don't want to have that. If you don't want the drama, fine. I'm saving it for the very end, and I will give you a warning before I go into it. Jett Lawrence is an absolute alien. He did something that was the best ride I think I've ever seen by anyone, period, in one performance. One athletic performance in one day. That was flat out amazing. All anyone could talk about was leading into this is, okay, Jett's coming back from the ACL. We got Tomac, Sexton, Prado, J-Coop. There's so many fast dudes in that 450 class. How many times did they say deep field? Jett went out there and made it look like it was a depleted field. He was so much better than everybody else. And I know Tomac pressured him in that second moto. I'm going to get into that. But just imagine what Jett has on his shoulders right now. The drama that his brother and dad have created around the Lucas Myrtle situation. It's fallen onto Jett's shoulders because he's the star. And then when word got out about him, using racist terms and thinking he's funny, being a kid, well, that wasn't just the video. And I'm glad he addressed it in the apology that, hey, he's done this a lot. Because had he not done that, there would have been stuff that probably came out and they'd be like, oh, see, it wasn't just that one thing. The way he handled it in the press conference was perfect. But imagine the stress that he's been dealing with. Coming back from a serious injury, that ACL is no joke. Coming back to a series where you got Sexton, who's just riding like a beast. Tomac having plenty of time to prepare for outdoors and get ready just to go out there and beat Jett. And now he's got to come back from the ACL and he comes out there and does this to the field. Wow. Jett gets a lot of credit for his absolutely phenomenal talent, but I'm going to take my hat off to him. Right now, his mental strength in being able to deal with his dad, his brother, the situation, the video that came out, holy crap. He comes across as kind of a young kid, giggly, funny, just kind of a silly guy. This dude is a stone cold killer when it comes to mental strength. For him to be able to put all that behind him and go out there and perform the way he did, I'm sorry, that might have been the best performance of an athlete that I've ever seen. And I'll be honest with you, as good as Eli Tomac was, I don't see anyone in this field right now that can compete with Jett Lawrence. He might get beat a few times. He's probably not going to go undefeated, but he might go undefeated. He's that good. The only guy I see on the horizon that could battle him is in the 250 class, and that's Hayden Deegan. Now, you Tomac fans are going to be freaking out on me right now. What are you talking about? Did you see Tomac push him in that second moto? Yes, I did. I saw Eli ride as good as I've ever seen him ride. He went beast mode. The problem is Jett has an answer for it. Jett's that good too. Jett went beast mode. Eli has left a flurry of top riders in the dust when he does that. He did exactly what he's been doing to smash the other guys, and he didn't break Jett. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say, okay, well, yeah, but Tomac hasn't ridden much outdoors lately. He's coming off an injury. Well, so's Jett. Jett's coming off an ACL. Jett didn't finish out the outdoors last year. Yes, he's raced a little bit more outdoors than Tomac lately, but I mean, Tomac's a 3-time champion. And I loved seeing Eli ride that good and stick around this long. It is a shame that he doesn't have a deal already for next year. If a guy is that good, I mean, he's an all-time great. He is. He's one of the greatest riders to ever throw a leg over a bike in this sport. And what I saw on Saturday, he's at his peak. The problem is he might be facing the greatest rider ever. And you can look back at Carmichael and Stewart and some of the great riders in the past. The field wasn't as deep. Those guys were in a different era. This era is the era of competitiveness. You weren't supposed to be able to go undefeated ever again. In fact, I even predicted nobody would ever go undefeated again. With 4 strokes and the speeds these guys are, and as many top guys are using the same training techniques, you look at that top 20, all those dudes are fast. All those dudes are in shape. And in Carmichael and Stewart's day, not everybody had everything. The bikes separated the field a little bit more. Not all the guys were doing the latest training methods. They all have that now. They all have that. And that's why it's gotten closer at the top. So to see Jett doing this to that field under those circumstances, damn. And I'm sure Tomac's going to come back, and he's leaving from this race going, yeah, you know what? I'm just getting back into it. I can do better next week. I think I got him. I'm sure he believes that. But Jett also has those same things that he can say. He's coming off injury, and he's younger. So there's this thing in fighting. It's like the championship thing. If you ever have 2 guys fight, and then, the younger one wins, when they rematch, the younger one wins sooner. That's almost always the case. That's 99% of the time that's the case. That's what we're seeing here. We just saw 2 heavyweights go at it and give everything at their best. And I think what you're going to see next time is you're going to see Tomac not be able to do that. I just don't think he's going to be able to be with Jett. Jett is going to win this championship unless something happens. And we know this sport's crazy. I mean, look at what happened to Sexton. But it's rare when you see a champion like Eli Tomac, one of the sport's all-time greats, at his peak. Now, he's not handing the torch to Jett. Jett is ripping it from his hands. On the track, that is something special, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of watching these guys and watching Jett out there. I mean, he's poetry in motion. He's mentally tough. There are no weaknesses in this kid. There's none. But don't get me wrong, that old dog in Tomac, he's not going to lay down. He's going to come back and fight as hard as he can. I just don't think he has anything I think he's the second best guy out there right now. Problem is, the best guy is Jett Lawrence. Boy, Chase Sexton, man, he had a blooper reel of a day. Every one of you guys who's ridden, you know what it feels like when you put your goggles on and you bump some dirt and it gets on the inside. Oh my God, it's miserable. You can't see. It's bouncing it up, throwing it in your eye. I can't imagine being at the front at a national on that track that was a dangerous track. It's high speed. It's rough. Everything is on the line, and at the speeds they're going, for him to toss his goggles was crazy. And I was just praying. As soon as he tossed them, I was like, please, get goggles. Once he went 1 lap, I'm like, okay, next lap. And he kept staying out there. He was playing Russian roulette with his eyes. They should really have a rule that says if you toss your goggles within a lap or 2, you have to park and get new goggles. Look at those guys' chest after the race. It looks like they're getting shot with pellet guns at high speeds. Those paddle tires coming off that 450. Some of those sections are going upwards of 60 miles an hour, having a rock come back at another 60 miles an hour. Holy crap. His eye could have been gone like that. Modern day 4-strokes have changed the way goggles are made. You can't snap in lenses like you used to because they would get knocked out. Almost all those top guys have to have goggles that have, they call them the front loader lens, so they don't get knocked out from the rocks. Scott was one of the last companies to get a front loaded system. And their goggle guy, this was in 07, 08, their goggle guy, he was super gluing the lenses in because they would get knocked out. That's how hard those rocks hit those goggles. You hit a bare eye with something like that, that eye's gone. And I know in a mud race, sometimes you have to toss your goggles because there's no way to keep them on, and it's nasty, but those speeds are slower. I think they got to figure out something with dry races, or maybe have a rule that says when it gets specifically muddy, you can toss your goggles. But in dry conditions, you should not be allowed to race with no goggles. And when I looked at Sexton, I see a guy who needs a break. This dude has been hammering it. And since they extended the schedule out and they're doing the SMX, it has been a hard run on this dude. He has probably raced more races in the last 3 years than anyone else. And it's not like he's one of these privateers that every once in a while they have a bad race and they cruise around. This is a dude putting it, just redlining every single weekend. He hasn't really had a break since he won his Supercross title. And remember, he raced Paula, looked bad, and then took a few races off when Jett had his perfect season. He hasn't had a break since then. If there's anybody who needs a break to extend their career, it's Chase Sexton. And I don't know how bad his shoulder injury is or his head or whatever he hit, but I hope he takes some time off. Sit out the outdoors. As much as I want to see him out there battling with those other two legends, I also don't want to see this dude burn himself out and shorten his career. He's got a lot of years left in him. And what these promoters ask these riders to do is just, it's crazy. Like the amount of stress and physical abuse they're putting on their bodies for that long is crazy. Chase Sexton, please take a break. Ride Strapped, goggles, glasses, shirts, just a cool company that I really like. They got the support your local privateer shirts and some cool stuff. Head over to Ride Strapped and just support a cool company that really believes in the right things for the right reasons. Alias MX gear, a high quality motocross gear. Their 2026 stuff will be dropping soon. So I will let you know as soon as that stuff gets here. You're going to want to order it pretty quick because it's going to go fast. AliasMX.com. So Hunter Lawrence, and yes, I'm calling him Hunter Lawrence out of respect for that performance. I'm not calling him Jett's brother. When you go out there on that track, on those conditions, and you're the third best guy, when you got Eli Tomac and your brother out there hauling ass, I will put respect on his name for that performance. That was a gritty, tough performance by Hunter Lawrence, and he fought his ass off. And Hunter had outlasted Aaron Plessinger in that second moto and looked to be going 3-3 until that mistake at the very end. That was disappointing, but he still got on the podium. And that battle with him and Plessinger, when Aaron Plessinger comes off the track and says, that's the hardest battle I've ever had, and that's what he said. This is a former 250 national champion who's been racing for a long time. To say the battle that he had with Hunter Lawrence was the hardest battle he's ever been in, that speaks volumes. So, you know what? I do not like Hunter off the track. I don't like a lot of the things he's done, but I will put respect on his name for that performance. He is an absolute savage on the dirt bike. Justin Cooper. I knew he'd be strong, and what I saw from him in that first moto was kind of what I expected. But I don't know that he's used to running that hard, that long, and I think he shot his wad in that first moto, and he just didn't have that extra fire. And if you're off even just a little bit with those legends of the sport and guys like Hunter Lawrence and Aaron Plessinger just giving everything, you're going to find yourself further back. But Justin Cooper is going to have some days where he looks really good, and he's going to shock a lot of people. Whoops were the only thing that got him in Supercross. If you had no whoops in Supercross, he would have been battling for that title. He was that good. Even jumping the whoops, he was consistently right there on the podium, battling his ass off. Look for Justin Cooper to have some more good performances in the outdoors. This dude is legit. Did I mention we had the reigning MXGP champion? This is Jorge Prado. This is a guy who last year was the world champion. And if you've watched those guys ride, they are no joke. And a lot of people will say they're actually faster than our outdoor riders. So to see the reigning, this isn't like he's past his prime coming over here. This isn't like Caroli a few years ago. This is a guy at the peak of his game coming over here and racing these dudes. And I was disappointed. I have to say, I thought his speed would be better. I thought you'd see some flashes. I thought he'd be closer to the podium. I was kind of disappointed. And it was funny in that second moto, he just ran out of steam. And Jason Anderson, I love this. Nothing like sticking it to your old boss. Jason Anderson made sure to pass Jorge Prado in that second moto and be like, see, that's the guy. You're giving that guy money and you're sending me packing. He just wanted to let them know, yeah, that guy that you're keeping instead of me, I beat him. And Anderson is so talented, and with a little chip on his shoulder, we might see some good performances as he gets his cardio back up. He said he hasn't been riding that much. He was using this race as kind of to race himself into shape. If he's got more in the tank, he might get up there and battle with these top dudes. Like, Anderson's got a high ceiling, and he wants a ride for next year. And from what I saw out there, damn. And how about RJ Hampshire? Is there anyone tougher on earth? This dude has a broken scaphoid with a plate on or screw or whatever he had in there. The bone breaks. He still has it. Finishes Supercross with a broken wrist. They go in there. They remove the plate and remove half the bone in his wrist. And they're like, yeah, it's not going to do any more damage, but it's not going to feel good. Dude's out there 11 days later running in the front of the 450 class. And I heard him in an interview afterwards saying, they pay me to race. I'm going to go race. Man, the attitude and determination that RJ Hampshire has, we could write books about it. It's pretty damn impressive. So it will be disappointing for the series if Chase Sexton decides to take a break. I think he should. But I mean, so many good riders, it's not going to drop off a lot. There's still deep field. You lose Chase Sexton, it's a big loss. Like, it's still an incredibly deep field. I think even if you take Sexton out of there, I can't think of a field that's been tougher in the last 10 years. I cannot wait to Hangtown. They go Hangtown, Colorado, then they get a week off. And RJ said after that week off is when he expects to really find his stride. So that's why we're looking for improvements from Hampshire. But we got ourselves one hell of an outdoor season. I saved this to the end because a lot of you guys just want to talk about the racing. And if that's all you come to the channel for, you probably should turn it off now because I'm going to talk about some stuff that'll probably a little bit drama. It's probably going to piss you off. So now's your opportunity to turn it off. So we know about Jett Lawrence, the Lawrence drama, Lucas Myrtle, them publicly assassinating Lucas and Lucas coming back at him and releasing the video of Jett saying some horrendous things. It's ugly. It's very ugly. And I wasn't sure how they were going to handle it. I thought it was brilliant the way that Jett handled it at the press conference. He addressed it. He owned it. He made sure to acknowledge that it was things he said, not just one thing. Brilliant. You couldn't have done it much better. I think Gypsy Tales could have done a better job at disguising the planted question. Do you have a prepared statement? Come on, Gypsy. You can do better than that. But even with Gypsy totally fumbling the question, Jett still knocked it out of the park. That was it. That put this whole thing to bed. We were good. He could go racing. Some people are going to be mad. Some people weren't, but we could get back to racing. And then Jett shows up on the starting line with a giant black security guard. Really? Do you really need a security guard down on the line? You don't. If they were genuinely concerned about his welfare, you put a couple guys in plain clothes and they just watch over him. If you were really concerned and thought that he was in danger, that's what you do. If you're trying to sell people on the optics of, the black friend defense, that's what they were doing. So whoever decided to do that, you just undid all the good that Jett did the day before. It was disgusting. And then when Jett comes off the track, you got all the Honda people to greet them. And, it's usually Lars. It used to be Lucas. And you'd see the Honda personnel. So somebody at Honda thought it was a good idea to grab this lady, Trish. I've never seen her before. So I reached out to my contacts at Honda. Apparently she does the billing. She's an office worker in the office in California. And she does attend races occasionally. I guess Brandon's the head man and that's his right-hand person. But for them to drag her to the podium and make sure, shove her in there to get TV time with Jett. Come on, are you kidding me? You guys watch South Park and they have Token? That's exactly what they did here. Like, really, come on. That is the most racist thing that I've seen in a while. And it totally undoes all the good that Jett did the day before on his own. So I don't blame Jett. I blame the idiots around him. Whoever's idiot idea it was at Honda to make sure to get black people on camera with Jett. Like, seriously, do you think we're morons? It was disgusting. And I was disappointed for Jett that had to overshadow that incredible performance, overcoming what he did to go there. Some idiot at Honda thought it would be a good idea to put a token black person on the podium with him. Come on, man. It just ruined it. It really did. It did take away from what was an absolutely amazing day by both Lawrence brothers, that they had to go ahead and try with this and try to control their narrative and go with the black friend defense. It was pretty stupid. Thank you, members. I appreciate everything. You are all entered to win the Nano Xtreme. This month, we're giving away the 32-ounce bottle. That is a $400 value, and I'm going to grab a random member, and you will win the 32-ouncer of Nano Xtreme, and you're all entered to win the new Power Sports XQi3. This is an e-motorcycle, and I'm telling you, these things are so fun. I get my motorcycle this week, and we'll be giving one away to a member in December, and hopefully whoever wins it doesn't live too far from here, and I would love to go riding with you. Thank you guys very much. Here is your member of the day.